Throughout the movie Roots, it seems that Kunta Kinte is driven towards family. Family is a high priority as it is one of the reasons why Kunta survives through all his hardships. Kunta was able to develop a family system everywhere he is taken. One of the strongest family relationships that was built with Kunta was presented before he was taken away from his tribe. His tribe is his true family that his heart and soul will never forget no matter how far he seems to go. At the beginning of the movie, the roles of family were well established. The mother was the caretaker for the children before they go off and start their own families. It was her job to make sure that the children and men were happy. Kunta Kinte always showed a caring personality and ensured that Kunta was raised to become a well-rounded man. The father portrayed as a strong provider for the family who makes sure that the family is protected from any harm and danger. The father also provides thoughtful reasoning behind different wrongdoings that Kunta does. Umaro Kinte ensured that Kunta understood reasons for wrong decisions instead of punishing him. For example, when the sheep is killed and Kunta put himself in danger to save what is left, Umaro explained to him that one should never put himself in danger and use that moment as a lesson. The grandmother was the wise woman of the family who will keep the family close when they seem to be in distress. When Kunta returns from manhood training, the grandmother is seen putting Kunta in his place by telling him to do something nice for his brother to help his mother feel better. When Kunta is brought to manhood training, you can also see that the family has been extended beyond just the immediate members. The boys who are all brought together for the training become so close that they can also be a small family. Going through different tasks to become men brought these boys much closer to one another and gave them all a common goal that they worked towards. Making sure that all the boys do not disappoint their families was a big reason the boys decided to stick together and become a family. When Kunta was taken away, the tribe demonstrated how close they really were. Instead of just the immediate family searching for their lost son, the whole tribe went. As the whole tribe put themselves in danger to look for one person, it showed how close the tribe really was. The tribe was willing to risk their safety to help one family. This one family was just a small component of a larger unit. Although Kunta was only seen to be with his tribe for a short amount of time, this time was precious and showed a lot about the way he was raised and the way he believes in the family dynamic. As Kunta goes on with his life, his tribal family is what keeps him alive and allows him to be hopeful of being free as he was before being captured and taken from his African family.
Kunta was forced onto Fiddler. He was a piece of African metal meant to be molded into a wooden spoon for the white man, Master John. The relationship began as Fiddler tirelessly pushed to disaffiliate Kunta Kinte from his African philosophy. He was a teacher in the worst circumstances, one who had to teach an African teen a new way of life, or else. After several months, Kunta slowly learned the alphabet and began speaking broken English. This marked the commencement of the questions that Kunta would finally be able to ask. This Columbian exchange would illustrate concepts to both Kunta and Fiddler that neither had fully understood. This was the beginning of their friendship. Getting the scraps at the dinner table was Master John's way of thanking Fiddler, but he always shared it with his friend, Kunta. At this point, their relationship had advanced so much so that Fiddler would risk it all to let Kunta run away after he broke free of his chains. Kunta confided in Fiddler and vice versa. The two shared a bond that could only be worked for, not handed out. As the show advanced, so too did their relationship. We witnessed firsthand as Fiddler gave away everything he had worked for his friend. From being a privileged slave at Master John's plantation, his reputation took a toll that he could never repent for as he kept by Kunta's side. When they were both given to Master John's brother, Fiddler became someone much more special to Kunta. Getting your foot cut off is horrible and quite frankly one of the most inhumane things a slave owner could do to his property. However, being alone through the painstaking process of recovering from such an atrocity would have surely been the death of Kunta. It was Fiddler's fatherly love that greatly attributed to the survival of Kunta. If not for the support Fiddler clearly showed in the relationship they had, Kunta would have begged for death. Fiddler encompassed what it meant to be like Kunta, though, in his final moments. It is the greatest moment when the student himself becomes the teacher. Instead of filling the air with the white man's music and his final strokes of the fiddle, it was instead graced with the sweet sounds of something more traditional to Fiddler's roots. As an adoptive son to Fiddler, Kunta must have truly felt proud of his father in these seconds. This tumultuous moment was the pinnacle of their relationship and showcased all its power in a demeanor only Alex Haley can typify.
Kunta and Fanta have a slightly complicated relationship. They are both originally came from Africa and were brought to the United States at the same time. Family is shown strongly through their relationship, through the beginning of the episodes we watched. There was love and loss between them. When they were brought to the United States, all they had to remember home was each other. They already knew each other when they were captured. That made it easier for them to bond. Kunta uses Fanta as a reminder of home and his family. Fanta is important to him because she's the only familiar reminder of being home. After being sold to separate plantations, Kunta continuously attempts to escape and find her, regardless of the consequences. He had strong feelings for her and finally escapes to her plantation. Finding each other again gave them a sense of familiarity, and they both fell in love with each other. Kunta finally found the one person he wanted. Kunta believed that he loved her and desired her company. She was like family to him. They became very intimate, which is part of what Kunta always wanted. After becoming intimate with each other, there's what I called the breakup. Fanta was not what Kunta remembered. Kunta is very passionate about his family and staying true to himself and his people. When he found Fanta, he was given a rude awakening. She had been brainwashed. She asked him to call her by her American name, Maggie. Fanta also forgot her native tongue and responded to Kunta speaking it by telling him, "Stop speaking that African talk. I don't know it no more." This caused the realization that she wasn't what Kunta had expected, and he may not be able to find family with her or anyone. Fanta was a major part to Kunta's story and life. She built him up and influenced him, then tore him down. In Kunta's eyes, I believe he felt betrayed by her. It was important for this to happen to him because it made him realize how people change. It allowed Kunta to move on and search for his own family and move on from her. She was his connection to home, his first love, and his rude awakening.
Kunta and Belle met while Belle was caring for Kunta when his foot was chopped off. At first, it seemed like Belle couldn't stand to look at Kunta. The words she spoke to him were always so harsh, and vice versa. However, it was all a ploy to help rebuild Kunta to the man he was before the accident. After the accident, it seemed as if Kunta had completely given up. He seems to have lost hope of ever walking again, wishing the slave catchers had simply just killed him instead. Still, Belle seen something inside of Kunta that Kunta couldn't see himself: potential. Potential to become someone greater than he was before the accident. Therefore, she got Kunta to become angry at her so he could make himself get into her face and back her into a wall. As a result, he began to walk, and before realizing it, his constant wailing was gone and Kunta was back on his feet, ever again like never. As we all know, Kunta is African. Every chance he gets, he is constantly reminding someone. On the other hand, Belle is just African American. So throughout the film, their backgrounds seem to clash a bit. Belle cannot stand when Kunta speaks about his African past. When he speaks in his African language, she tells him to shut up and speaks English. Every time he brings up his past life in Africa, she immediately shuts him down and tells him to stop dwelling on the past. When he talks about escaping back to Africa, she then gets furious. The reason behind Belle always shutting out Kunta's old life is because she isn't African herself, so there is no way she can relate to him. That is the most major conflict between the two. Belle just can't see what's so special about Africa that Kunta insists on going back to. To Kunta, it's his homeland, where his family resides. It represents everything that he is. Belle is the main reason why Kunta decides to stay on the plantation instead of trying to escape again. After they have gotten married and started a family, what reason does he have to escape now? Except the fact that Kunta does not want their child to be a slave, to be raised differently. He hopes that one day she will be free. That's his reason to escape. However, he takes Belle's past life into consideration. He doesn't want to risk their child being taken away like her last children were. Plus, Belle doesn't want Kunta to be taken away like her former husband was. So, Kunta decides to stay and therefore names their child Kizzy, which means stay put. I believe his main reason for staying is because he has finally found his tranquility. There's no need to run back to his old life when he has what he was running for all along, a family of his own.